Lisa Block here, MD&M West 2025, and I have with me some very special guests. I have the team from Murata. I'm not going to spoil all the information for you. I'm going to let them spill out who they are. You're going to be super excited about this technology. I'm excited to have this conversation. There is so much amazing technology here this week, and I'm so excited to be able to discuss it with you guys this week. Thanks so much for coming on. So listen, go ahead, introduce yourselves to the people. Let them know who you are.
My name is Faisal Munaim. I'm with Murata Electronics, and I have the chance to work on very exciting technology, especially in the medical implantable space. Thanks for having me today.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you guys. My name is Mamo Toby. I'm a business development manager for sensors at Murata. And I'm based in San Jose, so I'm so excited to have this conversation here.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having some time with me and having discussion with me. So the first thing I would really like to know is just give us a crash course in what it is that you offer the market and how it's making some waves and differences and what you're working on right now.
So actually, Murata has a lot of different components, like a module level or the passive components. And then so actually, we are focusing on the super tiny medical implantable devices.
Wow.
So because our biggest technology is to miniaturize components. So actually, Faisal is in charge of MLCC, and I'm doing sensors. So we have so many tiny components. So Faisal, do you want to introduce your MLCC?
Yeah, sure. So it's not just MLCCs, it's the capacitors or what we call discrete passive components. Mm-hmm. You're all familiar with these ICs, processors, or ASICs that are used in all components, mm-hmm. in all electrical devices, especially the implantables ones. So wherever you have an IC, you still need some discrete passives all around them. And we have developed a technology, silicon-based, that enable us to integrate all these passives into a few number of chips that can be combined with the IC to achieve a higher level of integration, a higher reliability to achieve those 10, 15, 20 years lifetime that implantables require. While achieving miniaturization so that you can position those implants strategically in the organs that the medical therapy targets.
Wow.
Maybe you've heard about these pacemakers that goes inside the heart,
yeah.
Instead of being implanted under the skin on the chest. So suddenly you have electronics attached to the heart directly, to the inner wall, delivering therapy where it's needed, consuming less energy, thereby using smaller batteries, etc. So all beneficial, for those advanced future therapies.
That is amazing. So, I mean, the developments that we've seen in life-saving devices, period, is amazing. But I wish you guys could see what they've brought with them as a sample. And I literally mean I wish you could see it, because it's literally sitting here right next to us, and it is that small. I think Mama was like carrying it like a baby. Can you put it in your hand so we can zoom in so you're able to see it?
Yes. Okay.
So we're gonna zoom in on this because zooming in is necessary. That's how micro these components are, and it's absolutely fascinating. So can you see that just in the palm of his hand there? Wow. So just out of curiosity, like looking at the developments that you've made, making the strides, what was the driving force for you to really continue to this development work and continue on this journey? Like, what was the driving force?
So actually, our benefit of our MEM sensor is on the robustness and also reliability performance. So the implantable devices, they require long lifespan and also high reliability. So this is a totally good fit for our product concept. So that's the reason why they require high performance, like high sensitivity, and a small component. So that's what we are targeting for future business.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so you said that you have a large amount of these small components. Like, what are we talking about for your product line? Like, how extensive is it?
So actually, all elementary, let's say, building blocks or components that are used in electronic devices is something that we manufacture.
Oh, wow.
So those really elementary components like resistors, capacitors, inductors, but also higher level components like RF modules for communications, BLE, Wi-Fi modules, and many of those are essential functionalities for medical devices.
Yeah.
If we go back to implantables, it turns out that having those additional functionalities bring real differentiation to the products, but by using, let's say, less devices, smaller devices, and maybe adding functionalities we never thought about for those medical therapies. That pacemaker I referred to earlier,
Yeah.
by having, let's say, an accelerometer that Mamo is referring to, was holding in his hand, or a
Yeah.
pressure sensor, add functionalities to that pacemaker in the sense that now suddenly that device can sense the orientation of the heart, how it's rotating or twisting, which we never had with pacemakers sitting on the chest.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I'm always asking people, what is your ultimate goal? Is it to compare in the marketing or contrast in the market? And clearly, it looks like your goal is to contrast. What is it that you think you do different in the market that maybe some other suppliers may be offering right now?
Okay. So when it comes to sensors, so they require a lot of complex motion detection, especially implantable devices. So the existing implantable device is like a lead pacemaker, so which is super big module. But now so they're trying to miniaturize the device, and so even like they installed in the chamber of the heart, which is called leadless pacemakers.
Yeah.
So they require very complex movement inside of the heart chamber. But so current existing accelerometer in the market, which is a very limited bandwidth. So, but our sensor has the big capability to widen the bandwidth, like a wide frequency range. So, which is needed for future pacemakers, which detects more complex heart movements, even like a vibration, like.
That's amazing. So, okay, so without giving away anything proprietary, because we all know how we are about IP. We don't want to give away any IP today. But I do want to ask you about that, because from what it sounds like, you've figured out a way to miniaturize this, which obviously is very convenient for the supplier, right? And for the doctors and even for the patients that will receive them. So tell me about some overall challenges you've had to overcoming those design flaws, right? I think they would be flaws because of the large size of what it currently is versus what you're trying to do. How have you been able to overcome those design flaws, but then at the same time push to market within your timelines or whatever? What are some of the challenges you saw, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So it all starts with the voice of the customers, bringing those feedbacks back to to our headquarters, to our R&D. We invest a lot in R&D, trying to push the boundaries of those electrical and mechanical challenges we're facing. So back maybe to the implantables, where one of the key challenges is to miniaturize and shrink all those components in a very small volume, to the point where we talk now about injectable electronics.
Wow.
It's not sufficient. We want to make, let's say, the procedure less invasive and something that you can have in offices, inject a device into, let's say, a muscle that you want to monitor, let's say from pressure-wise, or maybe there's a physiological parameter that you want to monitor. So we need to fit quality components in that available space. That brings packaging and assembly challenges, but also at the component level, we need to push ourselves towards thinner materials. Like if we talk about the MLCC, multi-layer ceramic capacitors, it's like a sandwich made of hundreds of layers.
Yeah.
We've been able to shrink those, to thin those layers to the point where one layer has maybe only three, let's say, grains on. And this comes with a great uniformity and great electrical characteristics that are essential for those, what we call power and signal integrity, when we talk about electrical aspects. And when we talk about mechanical aspects, it's about having materials that fit the requirements of the devices. Of course, there's biocompatibility, but there's also aspects related to the lifetime. We want things to operate now, but also 20 years from now. And that's one of the biggest challenges.
Well, listen, we've talked about we've talked about your technology. Now I want to talk about your heart for your customers, because the one thing I asked you, and I asked you about what it is you did and why it was important, and the first thing you said is we go back to the customer, right? You really did put emphasis on how important it is to get your customers' feedback. Can you talk a little bit about your customer experience? Because one of the things I will say is that when we're working with medical, it can be very straightforward and very detailed, and all that's great. But to have a form of humanity in the experience and really have people that listen to their clients is so very important. Can you talk a little bit about what the customer experience is like and how you collaborate with your customers?
Yes, we do have many business and pacemakers, and so actually pacemaker is very specific product. So they have very specific requirements and also very harsh environmental testing and the FDA clearance. It's a lot of process. So actually, our sensor is also customizable. So that's why we have very frequent communication. Like nowadays, with meeting is very getting common, but we prefer to have the face-to-face meeting, so we can do deep conversation. So that's why I frequently take a trip to different states because their design locations are everywhere.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I'm saving my miles, and so
Yes.
I love traveling. So and also to meet the new customers and engineers. And also, we are very confident about our specification. So that's my,
I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome because you said something that's very key. I think we can all relate to the fact that meetings have become virtual all the time. If I'm honest with you, there are times when I'm saying, do you have to see me to have what is normally just a phone call? But one thing that I really do value in what you said is that there are some times when collaboration is necessary, and it's most effective when you're face to face and you're willing to get on that plane and you're willing to go and collaborate with them. Have you ever had any experiences where the engineers gave you pushback based on what they understood? I know in some industries like mine, I'm in additive manufacturing, when people don't really understand a new technology or new advancements, they have a tendency to lean on what they know. Have you ever had any pushback from engineers based on what they think they know about a new or emerging technology?
I think both are present at the same time. So in each company you would meet with a certain conservative approach, which is essential in maintaining, let's say, the level of quality of existing products. But you also need the mindset, future looking, open-minded, to consider different ways, to implement the same thing. So I think both of them need to coexist for a successful company. Allow me to go back to the customer topic earlier. It's funny that because when we go to these to our customers who are manufacturing incredible devices like pacemakers, they like to talk to us about their own customers who are actually the patients.
Yeah.
So in the end, we are our own customers. Once we understand where our electronic components end up, we gain the more engagement. We are excited and very motivated in enabling those devices and helping bringing them to market as fast as possible, because we want to help resolve all kinds of medical challenges. So exciting world.
Well, I love that. I love that because I love how you tied it back to, I'm talking to my customers and they may share with me some of the experiences of their customers, and so because of that, we feel tied to that particular interaction, and I love that because everyone does not just naturally have the ability to empathize with people on that level. And I think it goes back to the importance of what you do. When you know how to do something well, there are times when you may just default to just doing it very methodically and repetitively without thinking about the fact that it does indeed impact people, very real people, very much their families and their experiences, and even your own families with the work and your livelihood, your credibility, all those things go into it. So I think that is absolutely amazing. And I know that our time is winding up, so I don't want to burn up too much of it because I want you guys to tell us where you can be found. But I want to go back to something that you said. You said they have to go into it, not just with the mindset of implementing something new, but the future mindset, thinking about what can be, what is possible, and being willing to stretch themselves into a different space. And I think it is absolutely refreshing to see inventors and engineers who are working on something that is so vital to our world and the way we live, but just business in general. You guys just have a next level. Your mindset is next level. I love it. Listen, can you do me a favor? Can you tell the people where they can find you on the floor here? And then can you do me another favor and leave with one final thought? And it would be, it is 2025. It is the 40-year anniversary for MD&M. In 5 years, where do you want to see Murata?
That's a good question. Yeah, so the healthcare is Murata's focus area. So we'd like to expand the business more and more, and also we'd like to have the more massive booth with the different technologies. So that's why we'd like to go upstairs now. So our booth location is 667. So it's over there. But
667, right over there.
Yes. And we have a bunch of the solutions so far. So like a wireless communication modules, you got new connectors, which is called Narstones, and also the flexible sensors, a lot of different materials. So please feel free to visit our booth. And also there are many engineers, they can explain more details. And I cover sensors, so if you have any questions about sensors, please feel free to ask me. So I'm the perfect person to talk about sensors.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Listen, you guys, thank you so much for coming to talk to me today. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing, tiny, microscopic samples. I'm afraid to touch them because I don't think I'll be able to find them when they're done. But I will say this. This has been one of the best interviews I've had. Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with me today. MD&M West 2025. Come and speak with these gentlemen over in booth, what is it?
667.
667. You can't go wrong. Thank you guys so much for taking time today.